just doing here a range test, uh, which I was doing over a couple of weeks, just wanted to figure out the kind of range you get out of the drone. Obviously in the UK we're supposed to keep it in visual line of sight, so my solution is doing a kind of like circles fairly close to me in the field. But one of the main reasons, obviously, you get a lot of people saying you must keep within visual line of sight is because they're helicopters and things flying around. And I just wanted to show one of these close calls with a helicopter which happened to be flying quite close to where I was when I was doing this particular range test in this field in the middle between Ferring and Goring. In the last 3 years, I think there's been quite a few ambulance helicopters land in the fields close to where I live in Goring. So it's not uncommon for these helicopters to fly quite low and in this area. So the fact that a helicopter coming quite close when you're actually flying your drone, I'd say is not a too rare occurrence. So I can more or less start to hear the sound of a helicopter coming at this point. And then it's, as I was flying down here, I noticed which direction it's coming from. I realised it was actually coming quite close. And then as I point my drone in that direction, I noticed that their helicopter's actually turning towards me. It's actually flying in my direction. So I start to bring the drone back as quickly as I can. So the helicopter turns towards me, flying northwards along the edge of Ferring and the field as indicated by the arrow here. It's about 250, I'd say 820 feet. So I bring my drone down lower and bring the drone back to me as the helicopter flies in my direction. For a few moments I actually was starting to think as it was coming closer that it might actually land in the field where I was. So as my drone arrives back, I hover the drone for a few moments while I was trying to work out what the helicopter was actually doing. And then as it kind of hovered, I brought the drone down. And I just see the helicopter moving down the field at the very edge over Ferring, and then I turn on the fisheye cameras or obstacle avoidance cameras, but I don't think you can see the helicopter in these cameras here just as I land. So it came and seemed to hover at about a 45-degree angle to me. You can just make out the pilot as he turns. He kind of hovers for a moment as he turns, and then he, after about a few seconds hovering, and he turns and moves back out to sea and heads eastwards over towards Worthing. So I just walk back, pick up my drone, put it on the mat, and carry on flying my drone. So the Air3 has an aircraft warning system which goes off when aircraft comes about a nautical mile away or is at low altitude. So you can see here the warning circle around this one's actually a hot air balloon moving away slowly, but you can see the circle which is the warning area about 1 nautical mile from the aircraft. Most low-flying aircrafts will trigger the warning system here on the Air3, but not always. Not all aircrafts seem to trigger it, but you can use the map to help get an idea where the aircraft is. Last year, when I was flying my Mini 3 drone at the Needles at the Isle of Wight, there was a Coast Guard helicopter which happened to interrupt my flight, luckily only coming over when as I brought my drone back to me. So the helicopter ended up hovering next to the Coast Guard building, which is about 250 meters from the old battery where I'd been flying my drone. So it was quite close to me. I had my camera so I could took some pictures of it hovering next to the Coast Guard building there. This app is Flight Radar 24. It's a useful app that helps you to see air vehicles and their location. For here I can select like helicopters, and you can get all the position and data and direction and where they're heading, if they're heading anywhere particular. It's a free app. Some of the features you have to pay for, but the majority you can use. So if you just want to see what any air vehicles in the area, you can look it up through this app. The important thing here is to stay calm whenever like low air vehicles are coming. You know, it should never be a problem really, unless you're flying like 2 miles away. You shouldn't have any real issues bringing the drone back to you. If your drone is like over a mile away, it's going to take about 1.5 minutes for you to bring back your drone. You know, even at the top speed at 47 miles per hour, with no headwinds. In most circumstances, most people, you know, your drone should be within a fairly close to you and you should be able to bring it back. But in this sort of uncertain situation, some helicopters can fly up to 400 miles per hour and sometimes very low, you know, under 200 meters, 700 feet. And if it was, say, to actually somehow be flying really low and get between you and the drone, then the most thing is just to stay calm, bring the drone low as possible without losing connection, and try and, you know, you can actually land the drone without it automatically losing connection and like trying to return back to you. If any of this is interesting, please give a like and subscribe and comment. That ends our video.